Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the PHA Podcast. My name is Stefan Gilliam. I am your host, and I am so delighted today, you guys have no idea, to be inviting Miss Christina Quinones onto the show with me today. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Stefan.
How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, living the dream.
What some of you might not know is that Christina is the Senior Vice President of AMA Consulting Group. So Christina and I work together all the time. And I was really excited to have you on because we just get to have a conversation about what we're seeing with PHAs, what we're seeing around the industry and everything. But I do want to start out because you have a very interesting story. So just tell us a little bit about how you got into housing.
Oh my goodness.
And don't skip the I quit my job part.
Oh my goodness. Well, a few years ago, I was actually working at a military brokerage, and I felt like my position was kind of a dead-end position. I was looking for upward mobility. I was looking for more growth, and unfortunately, it was a very stagnant environment, and there was a lot of pushback for me to experience that level of growth. So I decided at that point in time that I would do something very radical and very unconventional, and I decided that if I hadn't experienced the level of growth that I was wanting in a certain amount of time, that I was just gonna quit my job and move to a tropical island just to see what would happen. Yeah.
I love it. So many of us talk about like, that's what we're gonna do. We see it in movies and TV shows, and you actually did it. That is so awesome.
I did. And so, unfortunately, I didn't experience the growth. I say unfortunate, but fortunately, because it all worked out, is I ended up not experiencing the growth that I was looking for, and I quit my job. And within a month, I moved to Puerto Rico, San Juan.
Okay.
And I didn't have a whole lot of plans in place.
Except the beach.
Except a lot of beach time.
Yeah.
A lot of beach time. I had about 2 months worth of savings.
Okay.
That was all I had, with these hopes and dreams that I was going to find a job and make it, do something. And while I was there, I happened to run into someone very, very important who I still today am in very close contact with. Yeah. He's actually a regional director over at Nam McKay, Stephen Rosario. Mm-hmm. We just met walking down the street one night and hit it off, and we had instant connections, and from there forward, it was a blast. It was a party, and we've had a wonderful working relationship ever since. So that really kickstarted my journey into housing. So I took a risk, very unorthodox approach to taking on a work challenge. Yeah. And it worked out really, really well. I'm very, very happy with it.
Now, during your time in affordable housing and in the industry, you've also gotten the chance to do a lot of different things, right? So you've been on the innovative side, you've been on the operations side, you've dealt with some of the numbers. So like you've done a lot within the affordable housing industry. Tell us a little bit about some of the different pockets that you've gotten a chance to fall into.
Yeah, I would say that my favorite, my playground, so to speak, would be on the innovations. Technology is fascinating, and as we continue to experience continuous innovation in technology with AI, right? This is the new hot ticket right now is AI. I have to tell you, innovation is by far my favorite place to play.
Right.
I get to come up with a lot of new and innovative products and services and get to dabble in development, right? Now I can code, do a little bit of coding on the side. But it's fun because I get to come up with solutions that really help change the way that we do things. So
I'm glad you kind of talked about the innovations aspect, because that's a place that we see a lot of PHAs trying to start moving down the innovations road. They're trying to make sure that they're keeping up to date with all of the technology that's available to them. What would you say is something simple that they can really start doing from a technology aspect that can help their PHA? What's a real easy place that they can fall into, like a Chat GPT or something like that they can really jump into without a lot of heavy lift that can help their PHA from a technology standpoint?
Well, ChatGPT is pretty awesome. I will say that of all the things that I've come across recently, ChatGPT is one of those amazing tools that really can streamline a lot of what you're doing and take the time away that you would historically spend on creating, job descriptions and SOPs and things like that would normally take you forever, and the one thing that you really don't want to do, right? So it takes a lot of time away from that. But I would say even on top of that is establishing your KPIs and having a meaningful tracking system around it. So
Got you.
at the end of the day, a lot of the decisions that we make are based off of numbers, right? They're based off of stats. And if you don't know how to track those things, and they're so easy to do as long as you have, some of the SharePoint.
Yeah.
It's a Microsoft application. Everybody, for the most part, has these Office 365 applications. Start tracking your numbers.
Yeah.
Start getting level transparency into what it is that you're doing. How many research are you processing a day, right? How many eligibility reviews are you doing a day? Because at the end of the day, when you know those numbers, you can make really, really meaningful, impactful decisions about your business and how to move forward.
Now, staying on the innovations road, you have really, with AMA, you've really started to move the charge ahead, developing products, developing software services, applications. You've also started to move AMA into the artificial intelligence space. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen in the AI space that you think can really start to help PHAs, and even services that you're doing at AMA that can help some of the PHAs.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of aspects, and I'll touch on a couple of them. The first, I think that is important that a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on is customer service.
Yes.
Right?
Big time.
So customer service is really
shift
huge.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How you present yourself to your clients really is huge, and how your customer service team, whether that's you actually have a call center, whether it's just your housing specialist, your frontline, individuals, right? The way that they interact with your clients is going to make a huge difference on the level of participation, right?
Yes.
The level of engagement, right? Those are really, really important for the success of your program.
Okay.
And so if you can incorporate tools, and AI is a tool where you can have automated messaging, people don't have to wait for you to respond back to them. They get instant feedback, instant, communication. And that's really important.
Yeah, instant communication with steps and things that they can know, even if it's just telling them, hey, we've gotten your information, somebody will get back to you in this amount of time. That eliminates your need to have to follow up and find them and get in touch with them and all that kind of stuff. They've got information that they can sit on right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So customer service is huge. Another piece that we're further exploring right now is how we can generate information automatically from the documentation that families are providing. So where we've historically had a very manual process, in reviewing and verifying information, we're looking into ways of automating that, taking a lot of that legwork, that heavy lifting, and creating an automated process. So all we have to do is audit it. Hey, did the AI do it correct or not? Right. So that's another area and avenue that we're exploring. We're really excited about, actually.
I love it. A lot of you guys don't realize Christina is one of the most forward-thinking people I've ever met in my life. And so now I want to talk to you a little bit about this functional approach that you've kind of wrapped your arms around, right? So most PHAs work from a case manager standpoint. There's a case manager, the tenant or whoever is assigned the case manager, and the case manager pretty much does everything for them. You've kind of come up with and embraced this idea of doing more of an operations-based approach that doesn't necessarily eliminate the case manager, but takes a lot of the weight off their shoulder. Tell us a little bit about that, what that looks like.
The concept behind the functional approach is to kind of segregate or separate some of the functions to allow mastering of those things, right? So in a case management approach, in order to handle all of the functions, you kind of have to know how to do it all. You have to be the master of all.
You got to know how to do everything,
you do,
all the rules,
you do.
all the resolutions, all the complexities, all of the scenarios. And as I was saying in a podcast previously, and then you have to deal with that person's life as well, because whoever you're assigned to has their own version of all of these things going on at the same time.
Right. And so it takes a certain level of mastery to get to that place. And that's not very easy to do, especially in what we're seeing right now of this
transition.
We're finding it harder and harder to find experienced individuals in this industry. And so when you're trying to train new individuals to do case management, it's a long, time-consuming, challenging process. So when you segment those functions and you allow the ability for individuals to master smaller pieces, you can create masters of all in it from a case management, but you start segmented.
So what are some of those smaller pieces kind of look like?
So segmenting out your eligibility, right?
Okay.
We're gonna just take eligibility, and that's one function. And so we may have one person that is assigned just to doing eligibility reviews. That's all they do all day, every day.
Right.
Then I might have someone who's just dedicated to lease ups, right? Getting someone in a unit. That's all they handle all day. And they become the master. They become so good at it, right? Your area of inaccuracy is very low. So when you talk about compliance, which is a very important component here, you start to see a shift in less audit findings, less accuracy issues, because they become a master at that one thing, right?
That's really awesome.
And then, of course, interims, making that, rental increases, annuals, segmenting those pieces off and creating masters in those areas.
Right.
So that, again, you can reduce the level of errors that you're experiencing because you have people that are so good at it. They're rock stars.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so staying in the innovation space, because there's one product, the service product software that you've created that was really your brainchild that I think is genius, and that's Sherlock, right? And I know it's an inspections tool, and it was created for HQS, but it's being adapted for Inspire. Tell us a little bit about Sherlock and what Sherlock does. Sherlock is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what Sherlock does.
So Sherlock is an inspection management program. It is a tool that allows agencies to more efficiently and effectively schedule and manage their inspections. So all the way from the coordination of scheduling your inspections to actually conducting them. So we have electronic forms that actually the data from those forms gets pushed into a database that can make decisions therefore. So for example, depending on the pass or fail rate, it creates automated messages to the landlords and tenants saying, hey, you failed in these areas. These are the things that need corrections, the deficiencies that exist. Sends them the letters. If you do self-certifications, which a lot of us do, it sends self-certification forms, and the communication is very automated. So we do text message communication. So it's a lot of interaction. And on top of just the ease of management and tracking of inspections, there's a portal that we have created for landlords and tenants to go in at any point in time to check the status of their inspections. They can check to see all the inspections and the history of inspections that they've had. To see, what that looked like for their tenants. So not only,
and then they can start to pull trends to see like what's happening, what are we normally failing at? What inspection spots are we seeing are repetitive over and over and over again? Do we need to put this thing in our landlord orientation because all of our landlords are having a problem here? That's very, very interesting.
We love it. It's a great tool.
I love it. Okay, so I mean, what's next? Because you're doing all of this with the inspections management tool, this functional operations approach that you're implementing. You're utilizing a lot of automation and AI. So what are you looking to do next at AMA to kind of benefit a lot of the PHAs and the nonprofits and agencies that we work with in affordable housing?
Well, the goal, honestly, is to create greater efficiencies in how agencies perform their day-to-day functions, to free up their staff, not only to become masters in what they do, but to do other more innovative things. The outreach, right? We talk about it all the time that the housing stock and the participation with landlords is a challenge. But if your staff is stuck in the day-to-day because of inefficiencies in the way you run your program, you will never have the opportunity to do all the great work that's really necessary to do the outreach, to get the landlords to be invited, and not just invited, but want to be a part of the program, right? Working with partnerships and investors and development and all these pieces that I know all of us really want to get into, right?
All the new shiny toys that have been thrown out there for us.
But if your team is stuck doing inefficient processes and they're just taking that time. So it's funny because I hear all this about AI is taking our jobs away. No, it's not taking your jobs away. It's creating more freedom.
For you to do the other things that are available to you.
Exactly. So I look at it from the perspective of let's leverage this technology. Let's leverage this innovative tool, right?
That's a really good point, because a lot of people, we've been so taught to focus on the administrative aspect of what we're doing. So filling out the paperwork, making sure the eligibility, the rent calculations, the interim recertification. We do all of that, and we focus so hard on that when it's time to pull away from that and do the strategic stuff, to do the innovative things in the community, to do the community building and the partnerships, and to, develop new land and new ways of serving homeless and disabled and disadvantaged and, veterans, all of these parts of our community that are open and looking for our service. We can't get there because we're so stuck checking the box and making sure we're compliant, making sure this and making sure that. And so the ability to automate a lot of that and bring artificial intelligence into that space and bring technology into that space to open your staff up to a whole new world that they could really be making a difference at.
Oh, it's absolutely true. So,
Yeah.
and that's really kind of the direction that we're wanting to head, because you can do so much more when you have the time to do it, right?
I love it. I love it. Okay. Last question I'm going to ask. And I ask everybody this question. So I've got a magical megaphone, absolutely magical megaphone. It's rainbow colored. It's got a unicorn horn on the top
Oh,
of it.
wow.
Super magical megaphone. The thing that's magical about it is the moment you pull the trigger to speak into that megaphone, everybody in the world stops what they're doing and pays attention to what you're going to say.
Oh, geez.
What would you say given that opportunity? I'm giving you the magical megaphone. It's decked out in all your favorite colors. It's sparkled up. It's ready to go. You pull that trigger, everybody stops. Everybody's listening. They're going to receive what you say. They're going to move on it. What do you tell them?
Ooh, that's a tough one, Stefan. I would say embrace the changes. Embrace the changes in technology.
Right.
Embrace it, use it, leverage it, grow from it, be better from it. And let's continue housing in the most effective and most efficient way. So I would say let's keep on this movement. Let's get excited about it, y'all, because it is exciting.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Christina. Ladies and gentlemen, Christina Quinones of AMA Consulting Group. She's the Senior Vice President at AMA. And as always, my name is Stefan. I'm your host for the PHA Podcast. PHA Podcast is brought to you by AMA Consulting Group, which is why I was so excited to talk to Christina today. So make sure you join us for the next episode, and I'll see you there.